Epic Universe has won. The word is out, the proof is in the pudding, they have absolutely won. Hello everybody, welcome. We now have confirmation that everything Universal has been telling us and selling us for the past 5 years has absolutely been the real deal, and we are going to talk about it right now. As you know, I have been covering Epic Universe for years now, and I will say that I am probably their biggest hype man. I've been hyping this place up for so long, probably even overhyping this place. But to be fair, I have also tried to be realistic, and I have called out problems and issues where they might be occurring whenever I see them. Much to the anger of some of my viewers, you know who you are. I've even done some videos talking about the dangers of overhyping Epic Universe, but yet then I'm the one hyping it up the most. But now, here we are, less than 2 months away from opening day, May 22nd, 2025, and we are finally getting our first looks into this park. Team members and their families are finally being let into this park, and we're starting to get sneak previews, some select photo opportunities, some meet and greet photos. And this is giving us more and more peeks and looks into the park, as well as reviews that are coming out. And so far, they have all been extremely positive. I mean, like off the charts positive. But that being said, there are very few people who have really been able to experience this park so far. I would say that most people watching this video probably haven't gotten to experience it yet, and probably won't be getting to see it for quite a while. So I want to talk a little bit right now about why Epic Universe has already won, even though the park isn't technically even open yet. This is something I started talking about months ago when we first got our sneak peeks into the battle at the Ministry. If you have not watched that video, definitely check it out. I will link to it below down in the description. It has all the details of Battle with the Ministry and all sorts of information, photos, visuals, everything that you want to know about that. And it is a really cool video, so check it out. And while every other content creator and influencer out there were talking about Battle with the Ministry and all these visuals that were coming out, and they were talking about just how cool it looks and they couldn't wait to experience it, I was actually focusing on something very different. What I focused on was something that everybody else seemed to be overlooking, which at the time I said this was the most important update that Epic Universe had released to date. And it was because the images and visuals that they were releasing, the real photos of the attraction and the insides and the queues of Battle at the Ministry demonstrated one very important thing. It showed us Universal's concept versus reality. It was our first real sneak peek into what they have been promising us versus what they had delivered. And if you compare the concept art of Battle at the Ministry with the real photos that they gave us, the real images, they not only looked just like the concept art, they actually looked better. And as I said in that video, if these photos of Battle at the Ministry are representative of what we can expect from the rest of Epic Universe, this park is going to be the most spectacular park ever made. So here we are months later, and we finally have brand new photos, official photos of the inside of Epic Universe. These photos not only nail the concept art, they look even better. So as we start to talk about these images, I want to talk about one thing first. There's been a lot of chatter online of concept versus reality. And to be fair, a lot of the concept art that we got from Epic Universe didn't drop until 2024. So a lot of people keep saying, well, of course the concept art matches the reality of the photos, because by the time they gave us the concept art, the things were already built. So I want to go way back to the very beginning of 2019. And the concept art that they gave us, there was nothing built at this point in time. I mean, it was a dirt patch. And this concept art was the picture, the image for all of Epic Universe. Now let's quickly break it down. At the bottom left-hand corner, you've got the Kronos entry portal, the Kronos entry gate. Then you've got Celestial Park right there in the center. You've got Super Nintendo over there on the left. Then you've got Dark Universe in the upper left, Helios Grand along the top, Wizarding World over there on the top right. Then you have Stardust Racers right below that. And then of course, How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk there in the bottom right. Now what I want to do is overlay the real picture overview of what it looks like today. And look at this. Just look, I'm gonna wind it back and I'm gonna wind it forward. I'm gonna wind it back and I'm gonna wind it forward. Look at this. It is pretty much identical. The concept art that they gave us 5 years ago is basically identical to what we are actually getting today. Now you may have noticed two sort of obvious differences there in the concept art versus the real picture. One of the big differences is that big sort of arena show building there in the upper left-hand corner near Dark Universe. We know that they had originally talked about or originally planned for maybe some sort of big show for Dark Universe, and that was eventually shuttered, maybe even pushed to a phase 2, maybe canceled, and instead we ended up getting Curse of the Werewolf. And then another interesting change there from the concept art is there is sort of a structure there right above Stardust Racers. Can't really tell what it is, not sure what it is. Somebody online might know, so if you know what that was supposed to be or you have a hypothesis on what that was, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know what that was. But it's some sort of like circular building there. It's definitely got like a comet on it and some space theming, so it's definitely part of Celestial Park there, and maybe it's even related. Maybe it's another attraction or a restaurant, but that's also missing from what we ended up getting. So then they ended up releasing new concept art of the entire land in 2024, and that looks like this. So let's paint that, and then we're gonna kind of paint back over the real park. And again, just even looks more identical to what we got. Then around the same time, they opened up the Universal Epic Universe Preview Center, where we started to get detailed 3D models of what this park was gonna look like. And that was basically identical to what we ended up getting. In fact, they've actually improved some things since they created that model. So the point of this being all along, they have been consistent in their concept art, in their 3D models. Everything that they've given us has been consistent from day one on this project to what we ended up getting now. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why that's super important in just a bit. But now I want to take a detailed look at all of these images that we're getting. The first image I want to show is the Kronos entry gate. It just looks absolutely fantastic. Looking at the concept art, you can see this beautiful gate with all this like golden trim. It's got these little medallions there that are showcasing the different lands. It just looks really cool. It looks beautiful. And then when I overlay what we ended up getting, I mean, take a look at this thing. It's basically identical. In fact, it just looks even cooler to me than the concept art. So just out of the gate, the entry portal already setting the tone for what we're gonna get in this park. It's amazing. Now let's look at Super Nintendo World, the concept art. Now this is probably the easiest one for them because they've already built this in a couple of places, or they had been working on Super Nintendo Worlds for a while when they gave us this, but this is probably the easiest one to match up for them. But still, even then, it looks absolutely amazing just from the concept art. You've got all these mushrooms, you've got the Donkey Kong portal, you've got Bowser's Castle, lots of cool things. Then we're gonna overlay what we ended up getting, and it's literally identical. In fact, it's so identical that I look at the real picture and I think, wait, is this the concept art? Because it looks like concept art. It doesn't even look like a real world. It's absolutely insane. Even the placement of like the 3 clouds at the very top by the flagpole are like in the same exact location. They look identical. It's not even like they have 2 clouds instead of 3. Like, it's the same thing. Now let's move over to the Ministry of Magic. You got that sort of like thoroughfare there walking down. You've got these high buildings. You've got Le Cirque Arcanu right there in the center. You've got this Coupe de Quidditch in the middle there. Got this little pink awnings over on the right in the corner there. Boom, overlay. This is what we ended up getting. What? What? This is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it looks identical. I am not kidding you. When I downloaded this photo, and I am not even kidding, I thought, and then I downloaded the photo that Universal gave us, and then when I went to use it in this video and I pulled it up, I looked at it and went, wait a minute, this is the wrong picture. This is the concept art. Like, I literally thought this was the concept art. Like, I couldn't find the photo I had downloaded. I kept looking everywhere like, where the heck is the photo? This is the concept art. And then I realized this is actually the real photo. It's ridiculous, right? Like, am I missing something? Like, am I wrong? Like, this legit just looks like the concept art. It's insane. Everything looks the same. The colors are crazy identical. I mean, it looks like art. And of course it is art, it's just art in the real world. I mean, absolutely nailed it. Now let's look at How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk. This is such a cool piece of concept art. I just absolutely love it. You got those 2 giant statues there in the center. You got that water there in the background. Of course, you have the Mead Hall spire shooting up in the background. And of course, you also have flying dragons, which we'll talk about in a second. But this thing just looks amazing. I think, to me, this seemed like one of the most immersive lands in the area that I really got excited about. I think it's the largest land in all of Epic Universe. And it just looks sprawling and amazing, like you are literally in that world. How in the world are they going to pay this thing off? Boom. Look at the real picture. It looks the same, but still somehow looks better. You've got those Viking ships in the background. You got the spire, you got the statues. Now what you don't have is the flying dragons. So you're like, well, then they kind of missed the mark. No, they didn't. We are going to get flying dragons. We've seen that. We've confirmed that. They have flying dragons. We have Hook Fang, maybe some others. I'm telling you, it just looks absolutely beautiful. I cannot wait to walk through this land. I don't even care about the rides. I just want to walk around in this land. And last but not least, the Frankenstein's Manor there. Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein experiment in Dark Universe. This concept art, when I first saw it, was like, yeah, I don't know. They're not going to be able to pull this off. I'm not buying it. It looks really cool. Would love to get this really cool Dark Universe area, but I'm just not buying it. It looks so cool. It's got those electric things. It's just got this ambiance and air of darkness and mystery and just a little bit of spookiness. And boom, the real photo drops. I'm literally shook. And this picture isn't even lit up. They have lighting effects, and this one isn't even lit up. This is during the daytime, and it looks unbelievable. Like, just the details and the structure and the trees and everything about it looks unbelievable, impeccable. Like nothing I have ever seen. I think this has to be my favorite theme park photo of all time. It is absolutely spectacular. Now let's talk about why this is a big deal, why this all matters. Let's take a look at Disney. Disney is largely considered to be the gold standard when it comes to theme parks, concepts, announcing the things that are going to be coming to their parks, pretty much considered the gold standard. Many of you know that Disney uses their D23 Expo to announce a lot of the things that are coming to their theme parks, new movies, all sorts of things that are happening in the world of Disney. And over the past few years, they've had a lot of different concepts come to light, one of which was Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. There was a ton of fanfare, tons of excitement around the Star Wars coming to Walt Disney World and to Disneyland, Disney California Adventure. And of course, they had concept art. So I want to take a look really quickly at what Disney has done for their concept art and kind of compare the success of their concept art versus what they did in reality. I want to take a look at some of the things that Disney has done in the past few years, and this is definitely not going to be like a Disney bashing session. I don't want to bash Disney, I just kind of want to show some of the things they've done, some of the successes, and some of the things that haven't gone very well. So looking very quickly at Galaxy's Edge when it was first announced, some of the concept art that they did for that, this first one looks pretty cool. It's a pretty cool picture of what you would expect Star Wars to be. It definitely has a Star Wars feel to the concept art. And then we look at the reality of what they gave us, and it kind of is okay. I mean, it's not too bad. I feel like Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, they did a pretty good job of matching what they did in their concept art versus what they ended up giving us. There are a few places where it doesn't quite pay off, and we have to kind of assume that maybe budget cuts happened or maybe they decided to go a different direction. Another piece of concept art that they showed was the Imperial area. And in this concept art, you can clearly see Imperial stormtroopers. Now, what's interesting is that the stormtroopers that are shown and the vehicle that is shown in this particular concept art are from the original trilogy. That doesn't mean that these characters didn't exist in the subsequent trilogy. It doesn't mean that this vehicle didn't, but this style of stormtrooper and the style of that craft were very iconic in the first three movies. Episodes 4, 5, and 6, technically. But then what we ended up getting was a totally different vehicle, didn't match at all, and it was definitely from the new trilogy, which was episodes 7, 8, and 9. And so they did dramatically change, I think, what we were expecting to get out of Star Wars, but visually it still pays off pretty well. Now, one of the more successful pieces of concept art was the Millennium Falcon. Looks pretty cool here. Unfortunately, some of the areas behind it, when you look in reality, didn't quite get that same sort of mountainous feel. Then we have one from Rise of the Resistance, which looks amazing concept art-wise. I mean, it just looks so cool. Lots of stormtroopers. Really, these are the First Order stormtroopers in this particular image. And then you see the reality of the picture, and it's pretty much identical. Like, they pretty much nailed it. Rise of Resistance, the concept art for that, is pretty much dead on, so they crushed it here. But then we have the marketplace, and the marketplace definitely looked a lot better in the concept art than what we ended up getting. As you can see, the reality of that particular store and what we ended up getting doesn't quite pay it off. It's not bad, it still kind of feels good, but it's not quite the same level. But overall, I feel like they did a good job in Galaxy's Edge. But then we had Tiana's Bayou Adventure and the concept art for that, which absolutely looks stunning. I mean, the concept art for Tiana's was great. It's got this sort of picturesque, glowing feel to it. There's this great iconic tree in the background with basically a boat in it. It definitely gives you kind of like the Bayou feel when you're looking at this image. Now we contrast that with what we ended up getting, and it really doesn't even look close. I'm not saying it's bad. It's still pretty cool. It looks nice, but it's not even close to the concept art. I mean, it's dramatically different. But now let's move on to the Epcot concept art. So Epcot had many different pieces of concept art when they were doing a reimagining of sort of that central area of Epcot where the Fountain of Nations was, where the Communicore building ended up being, and you can very easily see that a lot of the concept art here, which looks really nice, looks really great, even a play pavilion, which was going to be a different part of the park, they ended up putting all these concept art, and then what did we get in reality? I mean, it's really, in some places it's kind of close to the concept art, and then other places it's not close at all, and it's actually very disappointing. Communicore is one of those areas. You look at the concept art for the inside of the Communicore space, and it looks really great. And then you look at what the end result was, and it kind of looks like a hospital cafeteria. Now, I will say they have done a lot of improvements in that space, and they made it pretty successful, in my opinion, in the last Festival of the Arts. And even the Flower and Garden Festival this year, it looks pretty good. So they've made some improvements. But the concept art doesn't really match reality. However, there are reasons for that. There were a lot of budget cuts that happened with Epcot. There was COVID in the middle of that, and they had to make some changes. You kind of have to take that into account. There were budget changes. And so that's understandable, but it's also still disappointing for people because they set you up for an expectation of one thing and you end up with something different. And I want to call this out because Orange Grove 55, friends of the channel, they do great stuff over there. Check them out on YouTube. They did a video not too long ago where they actually called out the fact, they said, does Disney's concept art actually harm them? Because their concept art always looks so great. And does it actually do them a disservice because it sets people's expectations so high, and when they don't deliver on that, people get really frustrated and disappointed. I think they're absolutely correct in that sort of assessment that it does definitely affect your expectations and your level of satisfaction. So that is why it is so critical that this concept art needs to match reality, realistic expectations of what you're going to be able to do with your theme park. And Epic Universe has nailed it, and they have nailed it since day one of this park. Universal's been setting up expectations through their concept art, through their videos, their press releases, everything. They've been setting it up, and they've absolutely delivered on it, and they've delivered on it consistently time and time again. So in my book, that makes them a winner. Even if Epic Universe opens and some of the rides are just okay, not your favorite rides. Some of the food, maybe not the best food. Even some of the experiences at the park. Maybe you get frustrated because things are broken or down, or maybe you were expecting one thing, or maybe you have to wait in lots of long lines because it's going to be so crowded. It doesn't matter. Why? Because they have set expectations with what they said they were going to do, and they have done exactly what they said they were going to do and what they have shown they're going to do. They have absolutely delivered. So in my book, Epic Universe has already won. Let me know what you think. Are you super excited? Do you feel absolutely more enthusiastic now that you're seeing the realistic photos of what we're going to be getting, or is it lowering your expectations? To me, it's just sending them even further into the stratosphere. The visuals, everything we're hearing is just over the moon amazing. I cannot wait to enter this park. Universal keeps on nailing it. I would love to hear what you think down in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with all your friends. And thanks again for watching. Until I see you next time, the noble way is the easy way. Bye-bye, everybody.